ESPN released an article yesterday that ranked the starting lineups for all 32 NFL teams. They did projected lineups, biggest strengths, biggest weaknesses, X-Factors, and a whole lot more that we're going to discuss on today's show. And the Green Bay Packers came in with the 14th best NFL lineup per ESPN. Here's how the top 10 looks. Baltimore at number 1. Then it goes to the Eagles, Lions, Bills, Chiefs to round out the top 5. Broncos coming in at 6, a little bit surprising, as well as the Commanders at 7 and Chargers at 8, honestly. Bengals at 9, 49ers at 10. Then you get into the territory where you finally see your Green Bay Packers. Vikings at 11, Tampa Bay at 12, Houston at 13, Green Bay at 14, and Chicago just behind them, of course, as the little brothers always are, at the 15th best roster in the National Football League. We got a lot to talk about on today's show, so let's waste no more time. But I got to admit, I need you guys to help me out, okay? The bosses took me in the office. They said, Joey, your last couple videos haven't been able to get to 400. We need 400 likes on today's video. Help me out. Keep me out of their office, okay? Keep me away from having those one-on-one conversations with management here. 400 likes, and you guys can do it to help me out today. Hit that thumbs up button. It's free to do so, and it shows you really love the Green Bay Packers. Let's start out with the biggest strength. ESPN said the safety position is Green Bay's biggest strength in 2025. And I'll tell you this, I agree. They went on to say that McKinney was a home run acquisition last offseason, as the ex-Giant produced 8 interceptions and posted PFF's 6th highest grade for a safety. A pair of 2024 draft selections, Javon Bullard and Evan Williams, each played substantial roles as rookies and are candidates for a year 2 leap in a defense that loves 3 safety looks. Now, if you look at the depth chart, you're not going to see Javon Bullard's name. Now, the reason for that is I have him in the cornerback room currently because I think he's going to play a lot of nickel now that Nate Hobbs has moved over to corner, outside, that is. Rather, let's talk safeties. Xavier McKinney, Evan Williams, 2 wonderful options. Of course, you got Anderson, Oladapo, and Brown backing them up. And I'll just be real with you. I could not agree more with this statement, with that quote, with that decision from ESPN. I probably would have said the exact same thing if you asked me this team's biggest strength. Xavier McKinney, well, I do think he's going to take a little bit of a step back in interceptions just because getting more than 8 the year after you just got 8 is absolutely unbelievable. And so I think it's going to be 5, 6, but still regardless, he was great last year, not just with the interceptions, but all he did to help that secondary. Cannot wait to see him in year 2 in this defense. Tell me in the comment section, what do you think the Packers' biggest strength is, okay? ESPN said it was a safety position. Maybe you think it's something different. Let me know your answer in the comment section down below. We talk strengths now. We got to talk weaknesses as well. And they said the biggest weakness for this roster stays in the defensive back room, except it's with the cornerbacks. ESPN said standout corners, Jair Alexander and Eric Stokes, departed this offseason and were, quote-unquote, replaced by Nate Hobbs and a 7th-round rookie, Micah Robinson. The shakeup positions Hobbs for a starting role, along with Keyshawn Nixon and Carrington Valentine. No other corner on the roster played a regular season snap last season. Now, I will say with that, the strength of the safety position is going to help the weakness of the cornerback room. Anytime you have really good guys on the back end, it allows your cornerbacks to play a little bit more aggressive because they know they're not going to get beat over the top as easily because you got really good athletes there in Evan Williams and in Xavier McKinney. However, ESPN does make some really good points, right? Because you look at this room, and it looks a lot different than it did last year. Now, I've got a lot of faith in Javon Bullard to play that nickelback spot. We'll see how Nate Hobbs does in his transfer from nickel to outside corner. Keyshawn Nixon got a lot of reps with, Jair Alexander missing so many games over the last 2 seasons. It's going to be an interesting year. And I think it's going to be one where they start off a whole lot worse than they finish. They're going to get a lot better as the year goes on. I can promise you that. Regardless, though, I still think signing a free agent cornerback would benefit this roster a ton. And they got a lot of really good options still out there. Rasul Douglas, could he have a reunion in Green Bay? Asante Samuel Jr., he's young. He's talented. Sure, he's a little bit injury prone, but you already know what that's like. Stephon Gilmore is a little bit older, but you know what you're going to get with him. And Kendall Fuller, I still am surprised none of these guys have gotten signed so far. And if I'm Green Bay, if I'm Brian Gutekunst, and I'm looking at that depth chart in the cornerback room and see these guys still available on the free agent market, I am jumping at them any chance I can get. I need you guys to help me out, okay? At the current recording of this video, we got 8,322 subs. Now, by the time you're watching, that number might be a little bit bigger. If so, that's phenomenal. If not, I need you guys to get me to 8.5 thousand subscribers, only 178 subs away, and my goal is to get there by the end of this week. Help me out there. Let's get a big push, get 178 subs off today's video. I need you guys to do me one big favor. All right, let's talk about the biggest X factor. It is Edgerrin Cooper. And so far, in my opinion, ESPN has nailed this list because Edgerrin Cooper is the guy I would have said as well because I think he's going to be phenomenal. And we've actually talked a ton about Cooper so far in the offseason. His numbers, as ESPN said, as a rookie were quietly excellent. He recorded a 46% run-stop win rate in 2024, which would have ranked first among all linebackers had he played enough to qualify. His 0.6 yards per coverage snap was better than average for the position, and he rushed the passer 46 times, resulting in a solid 19% pass rush win rate and 3.5 sacks. I could not be more excited for Edgerrin Cooper, and I'm not just talking because he just posted that video on Twitter of him riding his horse for the last time before training camp comes around. This dude is a star. We saw it at the end of last season. Everything he's capable of. He added 20 pounds in the offseason, still kept all the same athleticism, jump, and it looks like every single play he's absolutely just shot out of a cannon. And this year he'll be able to play a little bit more free, a little bit more loose, because he knows the position, he knows the team, he knows the league so much better. Edgerrin Cooper learned the name. The last one is one that I'm really excited to talk about. Lukas Van Ness is the non-starter to know per ESPN, and they give a lot of really good reasons why. They said the 2023 first-round pick still hasn't broken into the starting lineup. He had only 3.0 sacks last season, but did manage 22 pressures and was reasonable in run defense. The Packers are still looking to get more out of him this season, especially with their questionable depth at the position. It's now or never for Van Ness. We made a video a couple weeks ago about now or never players, and he was my number one on that list. And not saying his career is over if he doesn't perform well this year, but I think our hopes, aspirations, and expectations of him would be. Because he was kind of lateral from year one to year two, and his year one wasn't even that great. And then in year two, he has less sacks, less tackles for loss. He does pressure the quarterback at a higher rate and at a better rate, which is great, but still, regardless. This is a guy you took with a first-round selection. This is a guy that you felt fit really well in that defense that you have, in that Jeff Hafley 4-3 defense that they're running right now, right? And I know that when he was drafted, Jeff Hafley wasn't the defensive coordinator, but still, I think when Jeff Hafley got hired, everybody thought, okay, he's going to be able to find something for Lukas Van Ness. He's going to be able to bring something out of Lukas Van Ness. And so far, we haven't necessarily been able to see it. Coming up, we got the Packers starting lineup to talk about. Make sure you don't go anywhere because we're going to break that down on today's show. But before we do that, we just got to know, where would you rank this Packers starting lineup? They had it at 14. What do you believe it is? Let me know in the comment section down below. Weigh in with your answer. Starting up, no surprises here. Jordan Love, quarterback. Running back is Josh Jacobs, two guys that I've got really high expectations for in their respective positions and as leaders of this offensive team. Then we go into the projected starters. We have Matthew Golden, Romeo Doubs, Jaden Reed as the three wide receivers. Three guys that if they all fix the drop problem that plagued them last year, I think are going to be three absolute studs. And then in the tight end room, you got Tucker Kraft and Luke Musgrave. Both those guys projected starters, I think. Might sound a little bit surprising, but when you realize that they use 12 personnel, which is two tight ends, 24.6% in 2024. Now, that's 15th best in the league, but still, that's a fourth of the snaps. They had one running back, two tight ends. That's not even mentioning 22 personnel, right? Two running backs, two tight ends. They like to use two tight ends because they feel like they've got two really good ones in Luke Musgrave and, of course, in Tucker Kraft. Let's talk offensive line. Rasheed Walker, Aaron Banks, Elgton Jenkins, Jordan Morgan, and Zach Tom. From left tackle down to right tackle. This is a little bit surprising to me because Jordan Morgan, really everything we've heard from throughout the entire offseason is he's going to compete for that left tackle spot. So they either think he's going to lose that left tackle spot and they're going to put him in at right guard, or they think that, regardless, he might not even be competing for it. It's going to be interesting to see what happens. I would not be surprised one bit to see him as that left tackle when week one rolls around. Grade that offense, A, B, C, D, or F. everything from the quarterback all the way down to the offensive line. How do you feel about them? Let me know by grading them in the comment section down below. Then we go to the defensive side of the football. Let's start on the front four. Kenny Clark, Devontae Wyatt are your two interior offensive tackles. Then Rashawn Gary and Kingsley Enagbari are your edge rushers. And that brings out the question. Will Lukas Van Ness finally see starting time by season's end? Or, like Matt LaFleur has talked about over the offseason, will he be transitioned to an interior defensive lineman role because he's been getting reps there as well? I cannot tell you enough how big of a year this is for Lukas Van Ness. Then at linebacker, we got Quay Walker and Edgerrin Cooper. Interesting to see where they go with Quay Walker from here on out. They did not pick up his fifth-year option. Now, did they not do that because they want to sign him for a long-term deal soon? Or did they not do that because they don't believe he's going to be a Packer for very long? I think we're going to find out, right? And then Edgerrin Cooper, of course, we talked ad nauseum about him today. He's going to be that second linebacker spot. Now, I am interested in Green Bay's plan at secondary, because what they have here is a little bit surprising, in my opinion, what ESPN has listed. They've got 3 corners, 3 safeties. Keyshawn Nixon, Nate Hobbs, Carrington Valentine are the 3 cornerbacks, with Xavier McKinney, Javon Bullard, and Evan Williams as those 3 safeties. Now, when you run a 4-3, you don't get as much 6 defensive back look. And in my opinion, I think Javon Bullard is going to play more corner this year, because when he played corner consistently last year, he was really, really good, okay? So I don't know where they're going to go with this, but I think those 6 were the most surprising part of this entire lineup for me, in my opinion. That's going to do it on today's show. I think so. Yeah, we're done. Thanks so much for hanging out with us today on the Packers Report. Shout out to every single one of you guys who are still watching. If you're still watching, not subscribed, what are you doing? It's obvious you like the content. Lock us in. Hit that big red sub button, because we're here every single day for videos. We'll see you next time.